We're back.
You're still black, right?
I am still black. Yes, I am. I am still black. I'm still a man, and
I'm not. Oh, I am. God bless all. I'm back as well, but I am none of those things. But I am back, and I figured out how to use technology. I was years old when I figured out if you turn.
And you problem solved all on your own, and you were like, "Yo, I figured it out."
I didn't have to call any straight men to help me. Wait a minute, I don't know any straight men who could help me.
And then there's that portion of our show. And speaking of men...
Well, wait, introduce the show. Okay.
Well, I don't know. Do we have to introduce it every time at this point? Because I think now...
They figured it out if they're on the show.
I think by what are we at, episode 36? I think they know it's us. But I will introduce us, right? Like, it's Court and Amy, we're here. You know, black Oprah, white gal.
In case they thought that somebody way more qualified for the job took over.
So they've been
today, Amy Linden will be played by the role of Angelica Houston. Anyway,
if you like men, we have a whole menu today of men behaving
Get
badly.
it, men, you? Get it?
Yes, behaving the way men typically tend to behave. So let's start with dick number one. Are we starting with, Abe?
Let's just talk with Andrew Cuomo, because I want to say I heard the funniest thing today on Morning Joe, which is filled with men behaving badly.
Right.
And there was this, like, collective, I mean, you know, Cuomo's behavior, I mean, it's not something that most people have been aware of, but, I mean, now people are finding out. I'm like, really? Most people haven't been aware of that? Like, everyone within the sound of my voice has been aware of it. It's just that you guys have decided to stop putting him on a fucking pedestal and realize that here's a concept, Courtney. You can do good things and still be an asshole. I mean, look at me and you.
That's
we do
true.
Good things.
Absolutely. No, that's the thing. People always want to think, well, I like someone, so they can't do something bad. This is what makes me that I say to my Republican brethren, and you see the Democrats are coming after Cuomo. Like, it's like we're not just sitting back saying, oh, we like you, we voted for you. No, that shit is fucked up. We voted you in to work for the people, not to lie to us about something really serious. So, yes, his response to the pandemic, well, actually, people need to stop having revisionist history. The first couple of weeks, the New York response to the pandemic was not great.
It was horrible.
It was not great. The amount of people that got sick and were dying forced them to get that together rather quickly, and then he pulled it together. Just like you guys, hold your guys accountable. Like, this is some bullshit. And the thing about Cuomo is, and you know, like, the press conferences every day, he was yelling and cursing people out. I've heard that 8 people were inside of the restaurant. I'm going to shut you down. I'm taking your liquor licenses and all of this. And, you know, we're all like, yeah, he's standing up for the city, except, like all of them do in the city. And do not listen. Okay, people, do not call me anti-Semitic for saying this. This is not an anti-Semitic. This is just an observation.
Well, you have to preface it by don't call me anti-Semitic.
You notice they're mad at Michael Che. Michael Che made a joke on Saturday Night Live, and now that everybody's calling him anti-Semitic. But the Hasidic community in New York were not treated the same way as the Black and Latino community in New York. And we saw it when the people were gathering and the way they were being dealt with the cops and kind of arrested and thrown on the ground. That was not happening in that other community. You know what I mean? So I just think the way he handled that was like, we all have to be the same in this. This shit is fucked up. You know? It's just fucked up. It's fucked up. And I like him, kind of. But I don't say kinda.
No, I don't like him. I've never liked him. I mean, for me to vote for Miranda on Sex and the City is really... I mean, and bless her heart, she's a great actress, but I'm like, I'm voting for Miranda.
Right.
Look, I've never liked him. He does share, you know, obviously he's pro-choice, which is important to me. He's anti-death penalty, which is important to me. He's anti-gun. He is good on some issues. He's always been a dick. he's always been a dick. And the thing that's important is that, yes, in comparison to Trump, he was genius. It's the Rudy Giuliani bar. Yeah, okay, you're doing your job. Your job is to keep us safe. But he fucked up, and he hogged the media spotlight, and you don't write a memoir about how you cured cancer when there's still cancer going on.
Wrote it, published it, put it out, promoted it.
Right. The thing is that we have known this in New York. I don't call him Governor Suge Knight for nothing. He's always been a thug, which is enjoyable in a New York kind of tough-ass Italian way. We do get a kick out of that. But the point is that the fact that his own people are coming after him is because he has treated Democrats like shit for years. And now the Democratic chickens are coming home to roost. I can't stand Bill de Blasio, but his dick-swinging contest with de Blasio was, like, boring.
Horrible.
So,
and it really, and his dick-swinging contest with the great, the British guy who they hired to pull the MTA together. He started pulling it together. That's why we started the timings of the train. And Cuomo, of course, he was getting credit for that. Cuomo hated that and ran him out of here. That's who he is. He is a bully. He's a bully in that aspect. And I hate that people just use that word, but it's kind of like,
no, he is.
He threatens people. He's like,
sometimes the word is appropriate.
Right.
Sometimes a bully is not somebody who goes, I don't like your shoes. That's not a bully. That's a fashion. So he's getting his, and I am shedding no tears for the dismantling of Andrew Cuomo, whatever. He is not his father. The sainted and honor. I told you.
Hey, listen, he gets. I feel like he gets a lot, especially for some of us who are older who liked his dad.
Loved.
You know what I'm saying? I think he really does. That fairy dust was very residual, and it fell on his head. You know what I'm saying?
No, but those of us who are old enough to remember, and then we can move on to the next six, are old enough to remember for vote the Cuomo, not the homo. That was Andrew Cuomo's. He claims it wasn't, but I'm like, honey, or as your people would say, cunty, that has your fucking stank all over.
It's just like... the fucking ridiculousness of our lives here in New York.
He managed to piss off a Kennedy and Sandra Lee, who is the most benign human person in the world. Anyway, so fuck him.
Who else can make a Kwanzaa cake but Sandra fucking Lee, okay?
Can we post that, please? Because everybody needs to see that.
I will.
For Black History Month, that is one of...
It's a classic. First of all, it's a classic.
No, don't give it away. Don't give it away.
It's a classic. It's just
all I want to say. It never ceases. It never ceases.
It's the gift that keeps giving.
It is the gift that keeps giving. It never ceases to shock and awe. That's all I want to say. It is, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I'm going to have to watch it when we get off because I have not commemorated Black History Month quite appropriately this month because I didn't even know it was February until last week. So.
And it's over.
It's over.
We're in the last week of it.
So I think you need to post
Welcome to Negro Month, the last Thursday of every month. You know.
Because it's really sort of like, Black people, once you watch this, don't ever say white people haven't given you everything.
Because of Kwanzaa cake.
Anyway, speaking of, okay, I think we can just, all right, Lindsey Graham, who's a fucking asshole too. Lindsey Graham, a couple of years ago, very famously said, if someone in the Senate ever killed Ted Cruz and they had the trial on the Senate floor, nobody would vote to convict the murderer, basically. I'm paraphrasing. And everyone has always hated Ted Cruz. He's a slimy piece of shit. He's just an awful, awful human being. So the fact that he booked...
He stands for nothing, okay?
Oh, no, he stands for Ted Cruz. He stands for Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
The fact that he would book a trip...
Raphael. Hey, Raphael. Hope you're listening.
Yeah, that he would book a trip to Cancun, a place that most children want to go to, and blame his kids. Hello. I hope his kids get...
Wait.
I hope his kids get to meet Claudia Conway really soon.
That the first thing he did was blame his kids. Was like, you are a piece of living, festering shit.
No, he's horrible.
You really are.
No, he's a horrible human being. But honestly, it's like...
Oh, wait, did you hear the other part of it? Did you hear that he brought his college roommate on the trip?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
The trip that was supposedly for his kids.
Oh, and they were friends, too, and and their friends exposed the text, and he was actually booked to Saturday, and
That's
then, oops, I did the wrong thing.
Who's the shady person who's always really hated them and was waiting for the opportunity and got it?
Everyone.
But, your friendship, we all have friendship texts. None of our shit spills from our friendship text. Like, who is the person in their text chain who really secretly has always hated them and could not wait to fucking put, because two different people told them shit about the text chain.
So he's a liar. He's a piece of shit. He stands for nothing. Donald Trump accused him, his father, of killing JFK and called his wife a pig, and yet he still voted for him, campaigned for him, and led the insurrection for him. So Ted Cruz is garbage. I don't know if this will have any impact because he's not running for anything for 2 years.
For another couple of years.
3 years. And people have short memories.
They sure do. And first of all, they have short memory about everything with Abbott, all of that. People in Texas are really suffering, and the fact that they are sitting there like this, and you know that they will probably vote all of those people right back into the office. It's like, well, you guys.
I will say this, though. Ted Cruz barely won his election against Beto O'Rourke. It's not like it was a landslide. So, I don't know. It's like I said, Ted Cruz behaving like an asshole. Ted Cruz looking like, ugh. Yeah, I love that. I'm only going for a day to drop my daughters off. What, your wife can't take your kids to Cancun? And what child wants to go to Cancun?
Right.
Seriously. Kids want to go to Disney World.
Wait, and stay at the very kid-friendly Ritz-Carlton Resort.
Yeah. Known for its children's services.
Known for its children's services,
Well, as somebody pointed out, like many fathers, Ted Cruz wanted his children to escape a third world hellhole where there was no heat or hot water, so he crossed the border.
Right. And what was somebody? I can't. I hate him.
Yeah, he's horrible.
I really listen. I hate a lot with people when it comes to people, but I really hate him. A person who stands, the most dangerous person in the world to me is a person like that who stands for nothing because they will do anything.
He's got a punch. He really does have a punchable. Well, the thing is, nobody likes him.
He does.
You want to punch him.
He's just one of those people where you're like, you could get beat up. If I saw you getting, like, if I saw a fight, I usually try to break it up. If I saw somebody fighting you, I might be like, get him. We do not condone violence on this show. Get him.
You know he has no fight in him. He can't do shit. Look at him.
Oh no, he is a pussy. And then I love his big thing coming back was not let me be out there making sure my community has water, food on the food line, anything. He was serving barbecue to firefighters, which to me is the photo op, right? Like I wish it was the first responders. Like and I'm glad you did that. Shout out to all of the first responders. But you needed to be out there with all those people who also voted for you. You needed to be putting food in the back of their cars. Like
you ain't gonna do that.
I saw like if AOC, who is the nemesis, AOC, the woman who represents part of Queens in the Bronx, and the GOP acts like she's the nemesis of the world, can raise $1 million in like a day or two and then go to Texas and help, and Hoda Kotb can find her way there to be handing out food, and like, just help your people, man. Help your fucking people. And you voters out there, stop voting for people who are not showing up to you in these times when it fucking counts.
Yeah!
And now on to the next one. The stunt queen known as Andre Leon Talley.
Here's my question about Andre Leon. I have many questions about him because I used to find him irritating, and then I found him very entertaining, and now he's just whatever. Okay, did he go to the same English language school as Maya Angelou and Tina Turner? Because where does this accent come from? Isn't he from, like, North Carolina?
North Carolina,
okay, I just want to check. Is this the part of North Carolina that's still a British territory?
I mean, evidently, in a place where after a gazillion years, your lawyers and their countersuit for you. Okay, well, here's the backstory, guys. So the house that we've all seen that he's lived in, that he's done shoots in, that he said he has owned for years. He does not own. I guess one of the Manolo Blahnik people and his partner bought the house supposedly for him, and he paid it back in installments and something. They kept saying, like, when his cash permitted, they also like, well, he couldn't buy the house because of a little credit issue. I'm like, but if you had $120,000 to put down as a down payment, why did you could fix your credit? Like, there are parts that just don't make sense. And then
Did he not work for Condé Nast for 20 years?
And then they were like, the guy bought him the car. He gave him the money for the car because his credit. They just kept saying about his credit issues.
Sorry, my cat just attacked me. Literally just smacked me in the hand. She just literally, because she was eating the microphone cord and I pulled it away from her, she just smacked me.
No, they're full on attack artists, those cats. But yeah, so then he's trying to, this whole thing is really weird. You think about who he was, and then you hear this story about, and you realize, God, you just never had your shit together. You don't own this house, because if you had your shit together and you paid somebody off and you were supposed to get a title to the house, you don't have it. And if I bought a house in 2004, and you've been renting it to me, and in 2021, like a lot of people do, they start downsizing, things change. And I'm like, let's sell some of this property that we don't live in. I don't think, if you've done a bunch of repairs and stuff to a rental place, cool, but, you know, I've done a bunch of shit in this apartment. I don't own it, though, right? I've lived here for 23 years, but I don't own it. You know, I'm in my shit. I just feel like he has no argument, and it's like, girl, stop doing the public sympathy thing when only thing it keeps showing is that you just never had your shit together business-wise, and now here you are older, and the chickens have come home to roost when you realize you don't have anything, and you burned all of the bridges with your fashion friends. And, you know, I'm one of those people that believe, you know, I look to Andre Leon Talley, and I see him as this black man who was this towering figure in fashion, and I give him all props for that. But I'm going to say that I notice that we as black people sometimes, when we like somebody and we see something, we try to also ignore the truth of who they are at times, because we're
But do you think, honestly, and then do you really, I mean, I'm not trying to be dismissive, but do you really think he registers in the mind of average person or average black person? He's like someone, like the average white person doesn't give a fuck about Anna Wintour, right?
Right.
I mean, so I think the average person is very unclear, except for America's Not Next, you know, who he is exactly. I mean, he's not a great civil rights leader. I mean, he's somebody who was kind of mean to people for years.
That's true, actually.
Kind of mean and kind of elitist and wore fabulous cat, and then he kind of calmed down and had a come to Jesus moment, and now it's kind of like, you know, you were kind of not nice to people for years.
Right.
You know, so, you know, I will not be having a bake sale for Andre Leon Talley.
No. And our last man behaved, well, I don't know, it's just behaving badly. This is behaving, let's just say, he's flying like an eagle. What's your guy? Carl Horn? Is that his name? Carl Horn.
My guy. Why is he my guy?
Well, because, you know, you're in education, so I'm just putting all you education.
I'm in education.
Yes.
I'm in education.
Notice the shade.
I am an adjunct at a city university. Making so little money that if I stopped working and went back on unemployment, I would make more. Yes. I'm starting to do my taxes, and I'm looking at the unemployment, the 1099 for the unemployment. I'm like, I made more money sitting on my monkey ass. I mean, not that I wasn't looking for work, but sitting on my monkey ass than I made working.
Right.
All right, so Carl Hart is an academic. He's a well-known academic, not to me because I can't really read. I'm the people's academic. I'm not really an academic. I'm someone who has a master's degree. But anyway, he's well-known in his field, which is not my field, which is like psycho, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I first became aware of him because there's a documentary on Netflix about the crack epidemic, which, yes, we've all seen this story before, but it's actually a really good documentary, and there's some interesting stuff about it. So he's on as an expert in terms of drug use. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm looking at this thing. I don't know him from a can of paint, and I'm looking at him. He's a black guy. He's got dreads. He's probably in his early 50s, and I'm looking at him going, is he there as an ex-crackhead or as a crackhead? Because no judgment, Courtney. No judgment, but I'm like, he looks high as a fucking kite. And I do have a new television that's 4K, so maybe I can see the pinning of the eyes, but I'm like,
how are you enjoying the new TV? It's good, right?
Fabulous, and I'm just going to keep watching it until I die. But I'm looking at him going, he looks a little high to me, but no judgment. So he's written this book, and he's a tenure professor at Columbia, blah, blah, blah. So he's written a book basically about how he basically microdoses heroin, and he also does MDMA. The thing that's troubling to me, actually, is that he's a fan of bath salts.
I mean, it's that thing. It was like full on. It's like, sir.
Bath salts.
Sir. Like,
bath salts.
It's like, I mean.
Bath salts.
Wasn't that, and like the heroin was killing the people nodding off. Bath salts was the ones that was making, people were in the streets
zombies.
Bat shit crazy.
Zombies. The corner of Broadway and Myrtle was like Night of the Living K2 Dead. Yeah, so I'm sitting there going, all right, the heroin, he does it, his whole argument is that he uses it recreationally and it's just whatever. Okay, that's the conversation I don't know if I want to have at this point, but what I found very interesting is he seems to view himself as somehow, I don't have a drug problem because it's controlled and I'm an academic and I know what I'm doing. And then there's a story in The Guardian where he's like, they're talking about withdrawal and people overdo that and maybe Miles Davis was having withdrawal because he was irresponsible with it. Okay, here's the thing about addiction.
Yes.
Okay, you become addicted.
Right.
So even at 10 lines every so often, you're a drug addict. Right. No judgment. But for you to go, but withdrawal's no big thing. Yeah, I'd like to introduce you to all the people I know whose lives were fucking ruined because of heroin. And that's it. Right. Yeah, it feels good and it's great. And I too would love to grade papers while high as a kite. It would probably make it much more pleasurable. But the question about drug legalization is an interesting one. But for him to act like, oh, yeah, it's like those white people who would like, oh, I'm not an addict. I just do it every Saturday and Sunday. You're an addict.
Kind of, sort of. Right.
Like, oh, so it's just troubling. But he also has those Nosferatu fingernails.
Ugh.
You know those, like, in the old movies, like the coke dealer who would have the fingernail? Like the long, creepy fingernail? He's got them on all 10 fingers.
So here's the thing. Being tenured, does that mean they can't fire him?
Pretty much, unless he is breaking the law. So saying you're doing it, it's like saying you're doing drugs and being caught doing drugs are two totally different things. You can't arrest somebody for saying they do drugs. You have to have possession of drugs, blah, 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 blah. But I don't think he'd be talking out like this if he didn't have job security. And if he were at any other school but a school in New York, I don't think he's going to be popular on campus.
Yeah, but it's Columbia. I mean, I'm sure.
It's Columbia,
They cannot be happy that
no, of course not.
Professors are sitting there talking about, his microdosing and he's got it, it's under control. And
salt.
I mean, that's where it just goes off the rails. Well, the whole thing is off the rails, but that's really
I know a friend of mine's son did bath salts, and I'm not making light of it, and he had a full-out psychotic break.
Wow.
Full out. He's better now, but that is bath salts, whatever. Like, God bless. Bless his heart. Bless his heart, Carl Hart. Anyway, get it? But
all right, so you got your second vaccine. How are you feeling? How do you feel?
Like, I feel very lucky. I feel very grateful and lucky. I really do.
I'm really happy for you.
I'm really happy for me.
It's like, it's not like, wow, the miracle, it's all boom, but I feel better for you because I know they keep saying that the numbers are going down, hospitalizations are going down, but the conversations I'm having around me is more people around me are getting sick. I just found out.
I know three people, family just got it within 2 weeks.
That's what I'm saying. They keep saying, everybody's like, oh, the numbers are going down, hospitalizations going down. One of my friends I just found out, her mom, now she has it. And this is a family that, like us, has been so careful because there's a young kid. They have been so careful. They can't even figure out how the mother caught it. They've been so careful. So, and then I told you my friend's husband and another friend, his roommate. I'm like, so for the numbers going down, I'm randomly having a lot of conversation with people being like, yo, da-da-da, now has COVID. So I'm really happy that you got that vaccine.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for it. I look at the percentage. I am in a 5% of the country, which is shocking to me, who's gotten double dose. It is going to be picking up pace. It's ridiculous that my parents, who are collectively 5,000 years old, haven't been able to get it.
Yeah, my mom gets her first dose tomorrow.
Hopefully, the weather kind of held things up in terms of comes in. But I'm very lucky. I had some side effects, but nothing. I mean, I felt kind of weird for a couple of days, whatever. And now, Courtney, because I've had the microchip imparted in my arm, I am now going to be able to control the banks like all good Jews are supposed to do. And I'm going to know how to use binary talk and speak Hungarian. So I can't fucking wait. But I do feel better. I mean, in about 10 days, I'll have full, or 90%.
Which is amazing because I can't find an appointment anywhere, just anywhere.
I'll give you some clues on that. I've heard of some places. But I'm still going to wear a mask. I'm still going to behave as usual.
I just heard today, they're like, we're going to be wearing a mask even next year. They're like, things should be better by the end of the year, but we still are going to be wearing masks. And
if we keep fucking with the environment, we're going to have more of these things because this is what happens when you disrupt the ecosystem. But yeah, I'm really grateful. But it should be, as we said, this should not be a matter. Everyone I know in England has gotten it. You just line up and they stick a needle in your arm. That's something for drug addicts to do. They can get them off this and they can jab needles in people's arms.
We can't suggest that because, they have the NHS. And here, if you say anything, it's like, we're socialists. It's like...
And even the NHS is fucked up, but not as fucked up.
But guess what? But we are now seeing how fucked up first of all, we always knew our healthcare system was fucked up, but now you're really seeing it with the lack of availability for these appointments in low risk and high risk neighborhoods, and you're seeing all of these wealthy white New Yorkers from rich areas taking all the appointments in these poor neighborhoods, which is why now they're trying to do the mass vaccination centers where you have to only be from certain zip codes. But like you said, that's not working because in certain zip codes, the people are afraid of the vaccine. So now you're sitting there with appointments that a bunch of people can't even get.
It's a weird thing because, someone I know lives in that zip code, and she even said, I mean, works in a school, so she's within the criteria, but she's young, she's healthy. But she lives in one of those zip codes. She lives in Bed-Stuy, but she is not the community, and I'm putting that in quotes, that they're trying to serve. So she was very hesitant. She goes, I don't want to take away someone's slot. And they said to her, don't worry, you're not taking away someone's slot. So it's weird because if you live in a zip code where there's a high rate, no matter what your race is, you're at risk. We know that black people, though, are more at risk in terms of comorbidities and stuff. So everyone should just get the goddamn vaccine, basically. And it's not going to be a situation where if you go to the center and you have the qualification, you're eligible, not the qualifications, the eligible, and you live in the zip code, and they go, oh, I'm sorry, your family came over on the Mayflower, we're not going to treat you. Obviously not. Everyone should just have it because it's just. See, so yes, I feel. They give out stickers now too. They were giving out stickers like I've been vaccinated, but you know what? First off, I didn't want one, but secondly, I mean, I'm very happy. But I feel when people post like I've been vaccinated, I feel like it's kind of like not because I understand people are happy and they're relieved, but I'm just not posting or really much about it because I'm really fucking lucky. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really fucking lucky. I knew that graduate school degree would pay off eventually.
Right.
So
here it is when the global pandemic showed up.
I spent 2 years and thousands of dollars and had to write all these papers so that I could get vaccinated. But yeah, I'm really grateful for it and onward and upward, and maybe one day I can travel somewhere. So what else?
Maybe one day I'll find one someplace in one of the boroughs and maybe I'll get on the train. But hopefully I'll make it there on the train since the New York City subways have turned into the 1970s and 1980s again with they just did research that said that we have one of the poorest air qualities in our subway, which is terrible to hear.
Well, that makes sense, really. I mean,
Terrible, terrible, terrible. But the crime on the subway, man, it is like 1979, 1984 New York again. It's nuts, man. It's nuts. Be glad you don't take the train a lot.
I only take the train when I'm going to your neighborhood to go to the dentist.
Dentist, yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty empty. I have not seen any guardian angels yet, which is usually your first clue.
Right. I've actually seen a couple, and I didn't realize they were still around. I've seen them recently, but they are still around.
I know, bless their hearts.
And Curtis is still around with the red beret and being Curtis. Remember when he was married to Lisa Evers?
She likes to pretend that didn't happen. When she was the hip, she changed her name
so fast.
So fast. Like, Sliwa? Who?
Right, she's like Lisa Evers. Fox 5 News.
I know. Lucian met him, actually. He was at the San Gennaro Festival a couple of years ago, and and I'm like, oh my God, Curtis Sliwa. And he had a whole bunch of, like, little baby angels around him. Remember, though, we used to feel happy, though. When they came on, we were like, guardian angels are here.
Well, it almost, because here's the thing, though. We could laugh at it, but if they came on the subway train, no shit went down when they were there.
He was also a Law and Order episode.
I mean, well, everything's a Law and Order episode.
No, but he was a good one with the angel guy, the radio host guy got shot in the ass or something like that. They always do a composite, so it can't be like we're doing one on Curtis Sliwa. And Curtis Sliwa ended up being a fucking dick too, because he's like a right-wing Republican.
I mean, well, aren't they all?
And I believe a fake Puerto Rican like Alvarado Rivera, but that's my concept of that. All right, what else?
I have a sad announcement. Can we all just bow our heads?
Wait, do I have to I'm getting my coffee.
Okay.
Hold on.
Sad announcement. I have unfollowed Madonna on all social media. I have. I have unfollowed Madonna.
Okay, hold on. I have to.
Media.
Courtney, can we take a break in recording, because I have to compose myself and get myself together. How will I go on? My queen who I love, my fallen queen, I'm calling up Carl Hart and going to microdose with him today. I can't take it.
So I don't end up completely hating that hoe 1,000%, somebody I've loved for a very long time. I was like, I cannot see one more ridiculous post. I just can't. I cannot see.
What was your tip? What was the tipping point?
It was one of the posts where she was sitting somewhere and she was just talking and she was just being, I was looking at her and everything was weird. I didn't recognize the woman who was actually talking, and I was like, you know what? I really love Madonna. Everybody knows that I have a lot of girls that I love, but Madonna has always been my number one. I love Madonna. So to try to hang on to that last shred of not tossing her to the side, I figured I need to stop seeing her and hearing her when she's trying to make these revolutionary quotes. I'm like, lady, I've been around her a couple of times during the years, and I was like, for you to try to come up like, let's heal the world, when you were really one of, speaking of not nice, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, so I don't hate her. I'm just going to jam her music and love her music, but I need to fucking stop looking at her. I just need to stop. She does look kind of scary, and I don't like to play that ageist thing, but I mean, she and I are the same age, and she has access to way better dermatology than I do. And I am not making, can I just say something who's absolutely adorable to follow on Instagram is Debbie Mazur. She's just like scrumptious. Yeah, Debbie's great.
Scrumptious. She just seems like absolutely adorable.
And Debbie and Madonna are around the same age, and it's like, what's happening?
I think Debbie's younger. Debbie's a little bit younger, but she's just adorable, and I love her and stuff. I gotta tell you something really quick, I am the writer Jay Smooth, who's a really great guy and stuff like that. He just randomly found some stupid interview I did for XXL a million years ago where we used to just interview people. No, XXL, like a printed interview.
I'm not going.
But it was just really funny because we used to do this column called Hip Hop Junkies, and the idea was to talk to people who are unlikely rap fans or people who are just like, really? So there was one I did with Brooke fucking Hogan. Remember, for like a minute, for a
and
minute.
She was going to be a singer.
A rapper. She was working with Paul Wall for a minute. And, whatever. I didn't even, it's like 2007. I did a monthly column. They were 750. Yeah, it's like, I don't even think about it. And she said stupid shit. And in the headline, because it was like, who are you listening to? I love Stevie Wonder. I said, yeah, who are you listening to? Hip hop, And she's like, I love urban music. And we put urban in quotes because that's being sarcastic.
Right.
And then I referred, the headline was, move over Britney, there's a new Pop-Tart in town. Okay, I am currently getting read and trolled, like I'm a book, by heterosexual men, young, who are trying to tell me that that's a gender term and it's sexist, and I'm like, are you
wait a
fucking
minute.
kidding me?
Wait.
I'm calling her a whore. And I said, okay, first off, if I wanted to call her a whore, I would have called her a whore.
Right.
Number one. And number two, Pop-Tart is it's not a bad term. It was a term that's used for a girl that uses her kind of looks and sexuality above her musicality. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Britney was a Pop-Tart. It's not a bad thing.
No, but that's the thing. And I'm going to tell you something, and this is real talk, and this is why the right and the conservative side is becoming stronger and bigger, and more people are moving to it. The over PC bullshit and everybody being so over fucking sensitive where you can't say anything is the shit that is fueling the whole other side, because people are tired of being told everything they say is wrong, everything they've ever liked, and not everything. Listen, there's certain shit that absolutely, case in fucking point. Disney Plus, I guess, is putting the Muppet show and all that. They put a disclaimer now in front of the Muppet show.
Why? What was that? Because they sent it. Whatever.
And they put a disclaimer in front of a whole bunch of these cartoons and movies. And I think that being that overly sensitive and that afraid to offend anybody or anything is what is fueling a lot, like racism and all that shit. We all know that. But really, another part that no one talks about is the over PC, like you talked about, how hating cancel culture, which is why Morgan's album is #1 for a 6th week in a row on the Billboard 200. The only other male who's had one that long in the last couple of years has been Drake. When you do that, you're just pushing people to another side because they feel like you can't say or do anything without somebody being offended. Like, how are you getting control? First of all, a Pop-Tart, everybody knows that expression. And if you don't, Pop-Tart is not calling out, tart is not saying, tart, that's being, a tart is almost like, for lack of a better word, sassy, right? It literally. No, but you can also say when you call somebody a tart can also mean like, she's really that kind of sass sort of thing. She's a little
it does mean a girl that uses her sexuality instead of her talent. I mean, which is fine, whatever. But the thing is that, Here's a helpful hint. Do not mansplain feminism to a woman, okay? It's like, don't mansplain feminism.
Was this posted online? Like, where did you post it?
No, some guy on Facebook, but it was just funny because a woman writer I know.
You should have told me this shit was Facebook. Don't fucking. You know what?
I know. But it was just hilarious. And then this guy, and I don't even want to give him, but he was like, I'm sorry if this is causing you grief. My comment, it's like, causing me grief. I said, I'm laughing my ass off that you are that you are looking at an interview from 2007 and freaking out because one word, Pop-Tart. I said, it's not an offensive term. It is. Anyway, they need to just get a grip and be concerned about more important things.
Yeah, and everybody needs to stop being so fucking sensitive, and be able to laugh. Sometimes you have to be able to laugh at yourself. And sometimes you can't get mad if something sounds like shit, but it's also factual. You know what I mean?
And also, again, don't mansplain feminism to women. That's like a white person telling a black person what they should be offended of. I think I can figure out what I should be offended by. I'm a girl.
When people are like, well, explain to me how this is racist. I'm like, I'm not explaining that.
That's not my job. My job is not, it's like, fuck you.
I'm not here to tell you that. But I'm going to tell you this. It's racist.
I'm not your magical, whatever the woman equivalent of magical Negro.
Magical, colorful Negro, right? I'm here.
I'm not your, whatever. So, fuck them. There. was making me laugh. It kept me amused yesterday in between watching French television. By the way, if anyone listening to this for some reason, hit us up on Facebook if you have a subscription to Sundance now, because I really want to start watching this other show, and I really hate to be the girl that does the 1 week free trial and then sits there like a lunatic. And then there's another one that has French mystery shows. Hit me up, MSHS. Just, no, seriously, I'm good for it. I'll do you a favor. I'll do something. I'll break you a favor.
When I saw a commercial for Discovery Plus, because they have some 90-Day Fiancé show.
No. I told you we already did. No, we did that. Okay, I didn't tell you this. Candace and I, my best friend Candace, we decided, all right, we'll try the trial. And we're so fucking cheap. We said, all right, $4.99 a month. We'll split it. $2.50 each. We did the week trial, and we sat down and watched everything. And we were like, this is bullshit. They're dropping new content week by week to keep you going. The interface was crazy, and we said, this is such bullshit that it's not worth it, $2.50. And what we're going to do, please don't judge, is in a couple of months, when they have all the content presented, because they were only doing a little bit of content and much of we've seen before, we're going to rejoin under her email address and then binge watch it again.
That's hilarious.
No, I mean, it's like, it was ridiculous. And the interface was bad, and it was just like you would start something, and if you stopped, you had to start from the beginning, and it was just
I
like...
don't need one more, and actually, I don't need one more subscription service. If I get one more subscription service, I might as well dump them all and just get cable again.
Yeah, but this was pissing me off. This was just like, I was like, that $2.50... How much is the subway? $2.75? Okay, I could have gotten on the subway.
$2.75 and an ambulance.
Right, yeah. I was so livid. I felt like writing a letter to Discovery Plus, but I decided...
You're like, how dare you drop this weekly like it's a TV show and want me to stay and actually pay the subscription?
No, they literally did it like, you're like, all right, this is going to be really cool. And then it was like, I've seen this. This is just outtakes because
so you saw the commercial I saw today of some new, what's it called? A 90-Day Fiancé presents like Made in Love or something like that. And you see the lady, she's like,
oh, it's a talk show. It's ridiculous because they can't shoot content because COVID is shutting everything down. No, Courtney, I was very disappointed. Candace Crossley and Candace Crossley, the queen of TLC, we were irate. And my father did not fight in World War II, so I could pay $2.50 to waste my time. And I'm just going on record. That's it. You're not following Madonna. I'm not subscribing to TLC.
And you know, I'm excited because you only watch like 4.5 TV shows. One is finally going back into production, the morning show on Apple TV Plus, which is the only reason why I have Apple TV Plus, so that needs to hurry up and come back. And Fiji just granted the permit for Survivor to come down.
The country Fiji? The country
Fiji, because that's where Survivor usually has been shooting the last couple of seasons. They got cut off right when they were starting the season. So they've given them the permits, and they're going to go down there and start shooting. So hopefully we'll get some Survivor by the end of the year, you know?
They had to cut, Below Deck short because of COVID.
They had to cut The Amazing Race short. They had just started, and they had to bring everybody back home. Because, you know, you're going to a gazillion
Damn
countries.
this pandemic. I mean, not only are people dying, but we're fucking up our television, which is why I'm just going to watch French television.
And
it hasn't hit there
yet. It's harder to get a mani-pedi. Because then, like, I would just walk in. Now you really have to figure out when you want to go.
I'm not doing it. I'm waiting. It's winter. It's winter. No one's looking at me. It's winter. I'll wait until the spring. I'm like, you haven't seen me. I'm like, there's major grayness going on.
But you've been dying it yourself before.
No, I gave up on that shit. It was burning my hair. And I also, honestly, this is my kind of come to Jesus, am I just going to embrace the fact type of thing. So it doesn't look that bad, but I am definitely...
No, you say that right now, but when we all can leave the house again, your ass will be going to your hair.
Maybe not. Maybe I will. Maybe I will just grow gracefully. All right, we'll have a meeting. We'll see.
I see you being like, you know, I was going to let it grow gray, but then I was like, it's summer, and
but it doesn't look, it really doesn't. Actually, I very rarely dye my hair in the summer because the heat oxidizes. This is way too complicated a conversation. I'm trying to come to grips with reality. We'll see how long that lasts.
I used to dye the gray out of my eyebrow. Now one of my eyebrows is almost all
You dye your eyebrows gray?
Well, because my eyebrows, one is turning, it's really very gray. And I used to just dye them like a natural black. But sometimes I just let the gray come in, and the other times when I want a different mood, I'll just dye it and get the gray out.
I haven't had my eyebrows done, period, because the last thing I wanted to have was somebody leaning over me with a piece of string ripping my eye. And I was like, all right, what else? What else is going on? Is there anything else we want to discuss about?
Nothing going on, John.
Yeah, there's nothing going on.
No. Ain't nothing going on but the rent, which will be next week, because it's already about to be March. Can you believe it's about to be March already? Yeah. Crazy.
Is there going to be, like, what kind of cards do you get for a lockdown anniversary? Can't wait.
They're like, you survived, and you survived with a fucking voucher for Uber Eats.
Oh, God, not even. I know, not even. I just want to, are you watching, did you check out, because we can talk about it next week.
I have It's saved, but I have not watched it yet.
All right, so let's wait until you watch it, because I would like to have a conversation about it, because it is
I will have watched it and finished it all next.
And I want to hear about it from the homosexual point of view.
Mm-hmm. Who's the homosexual? Is that gay? Am I homosexual?
Yeah. Yes.
Stick it in.
Find a homosexual and bring them over and have them.
Amy's looking for a Sundance Now login.
Sundance Now, and
I'm looking for a homosexual. So just hit us up on Facebook.
Yeah, maybe they can be one and the same, Courtney.
Maybe they can be one and the same. One and the same would be a bonus. And
really, a gay man who has a subscription to Sundance Now. I'll take Sundance Now, or I'll take that other one, so I can finish watching. I have 2 more seasons after I finish this up of Serial, which is I really like. It's Quench. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to have to at some point watch American television. But, I'm being all snotty. All right. Anything else you want to say? In conclusion, Courtney M. Anderson.
In conclusion, you guys know the drill. We're on Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish, all one word. We're on Instagram at ImmaLetYouFinish NY, all one word. We're on Twitter at FinishImma. Follow Listening Party Presents on IG. And, yeah, man,
That's about it. We've got some groovy playlists up if you want to listen to some suicide music, AKA trip hop. Actually, it was really fun putting that together. It really was.
It's fun revisiting that music because it also brings you back to a moment, right? It's like, oh my God.
But it hasn't aged. It has not aged at all.
Well, because a lot of it is great music. Those Portishead albums are great. That Mono album is great. Those Massive Attack albums are great. But these guys were musicians, so it's great music. Everything But the Girls. All that stuff is just great.
Yeah, it's really good. All right, so we will see you next week.
We will see you next week. Remember,
bye, everybody. Stay safe.
Bye, everybody. Stay safe. Wear your mask and blase blah.
Blase blah. Bye.
Bye.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.